all time as far as certain Buckeye positions and everything. This week, top 5
This is the
edge
easiest one we've
rushers
done.
of all time from Ohio State, man. Top
Right.
5 edge rushers of all
Yeah.
time from Ohio State,
I knew
man.
this at
So
work when I had nothing
who you
else to do.
got?
Oh, listen, this is the easiest one to do.
It really
I mean,
is.
no, like, let's keep it a buck. First off, let's state this. Ain't nobody in this area racist, so fuck them dudes for being racist. But if you're making me make a list of the best edge rushers to ever play at The Ohio State University, if your list is
It's
not
them.
some makeup of these four
It's them.
at the very least, Chase Young has to be number one in my opinion because he had the best season. He was a Heisman runner-up. I don't think there's a lot of competition with that season. To me, he's number one. My number 2 was Joey Bosa. My number 3 was Mike Vrabel. Now I'm gonna say this straightforward. I don't like Nick Bosa. And I'll say it like this. I don't get in politics, but I am actually a Republican for sure. That's a straight answer. But I would never be disrespectful or do no propaganda that absolutely puts racism forward. That's a straightforward answer. If you want to say it or not, you can represent what you represent and not represent that.
Right.
I'll leave it at that. So
That's
I probably
true.
would have put Nick Bosa third, but because of my hate, I put him fourth and put Mike Vrabel third because he had probably the second best season in Buckeye history, but we're talking careers.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put my fifth. I kind of tried to put my last two, like kind of add people's names. But my 5 is like close to my heart, and I got to witness the moment live, first in hand. Like it was cool. Jack Sawyer is my 5th best defensive end, and I put I put a side note like it was 100% for that Texas moment, like
I
totally
had a question
cope
for you on that one.
pulling it in like that. I appreciated it. Did he have the top 5 career? No, but I think his top 5 moment allowed me to put him in there. But I did put Vernon Golston in parentheses next to it because that's probably the answer.
I got a question for you. Do you all right? So looking at the stats, like JTT and Jack Sawyer, like JTT got 23 and a half sacks, and Jack Sawyer got 23. The question is, who had the better career between them two?
That both
JTT and Jack Sawyer. Who had the better career? Who had the better career between JTT and Jack Sawyer?
Jack Sawyer because of this year, but Jay. So to me, this is me being honest. They both have 2 really extremely huge moments in their careers. You get what I'm saying? Like JTT had that Penn State game where he had like 3 interceptions and like 4 sacks and a touchdown and a forced fumble. And I thought he was going to be the greatest defensive end to ever play for our team. And then he never, ever, 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 even on this playoff run, did some shit like that ever again in his life. And that, like, for me, put me down on, bro. Like, that's an honest statement. Like, that specific reasoning. I love JTT. Cool.
You expect him to have 3 INTs in one game after
What?
that? As a defensive
Bro,
end?
he had, like, the craziest game ever.
Yeah, I didn't expect to have no games like that, but I'm expecting
No,
him to play at
no,
a,
no, no,
like,
no, no.
at
He's
a
never
high
even.
clip
I bet he hasn't even had a season
consistently.
with that much stats since then, bro. I'm not being a hater. That was like the greatest moment of his career. I thought that from that moment he was gonna go on like a Chase Young type of run and just fucking kill people,
Right.
and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what
It
I'm
was
saying?
about
It
the
just
consistency,
never.
man.
Neither of them really panned out until this year. To be honest, I'm keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
I put Vernon Golston in parentheses. I put Jack Sawyer there probably based on like my love for what we just got to go through. And that moment being like a key.
Did you give an honorable mention to Cam Hayward?
Well, I feel like Cam Hayward plays DT.
Who your top 5, TB? I mean, as far as pass rushing. Who your top 5? Honestly, I can't really go against really T Mac's top 5. Like when I looked at his list on the chat, I really couldn't find anybody that I would replace. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I would.
You're all right, buddy. Go ahead.
I did have both Bosas above Chase, in my personal opinion. Because I don't see so many games where like Chase had 0 tackles, 0 sacks. You know what I'm saying? I know he was double,
You know what I'm saying? I know. Hell, I was seeing Chase Young triple covered,
Hey,
and that and
fact.
that
Looking like
that
Jeremiah
does
Smith on the
play.
troop.
Yeah, that does play a role, but I don't. I do remember a couple games where Chase was, shut down. So I don't remember too many games where any of the Bosses was shut down,
Except
even
for
when they
I
was
Nick for
mean,
the
subbing.
whole
So
season.
I
I
just
don't
felt.
know. I mean, my thing with Chase Young on the list, like, because like career wise, he's number two in all time sacks at Ohio State with 30 and a half. And then, of course, like T Mac said, he had the most sacks in a single season was 16 and a half in 2019. But
And
that
was the Heisman runner
2018
up.
year, he had 10 and a half in 2018. You know what I'm saying? Where like he's number two on that all time list. And he's ahead of both Bosa brothers
Man, if
in
Nick
that
Bosa would
department.
have played his last year, he'd have more sacks, and that's an honest answer. He's not far on the list,
Oh,
and only played.
Joy. I'm gonna say Joy because Joy's at 26. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like Chase Young. I thought he was dominant in college. That's what got him that number one spot. You know what I'm saying? As far as in the
Mm-hmm.
draft.
Yeah, I mean he was dominant, but I would go like and I looked up Mike Vrabel highlights, and I just forgot how dominant he was,
I
man.
Yeah,
didn't
he's
even
Like
know. That's
he
an
the
honest
all time. He's
answer.
still the all time leader in sacks. Like so,
So for me, like
yeah
this is me. Like I apologize to you, Mr. Vrabel. When I think of '95, I think of Eddie George because that's like I barely really know much about football, but Eddie George, and that's like really that's honest. So I had no clue you were as good as you are. You are great, actually.
yeah. I mean he rivals Chris Spielman as far as like
like that era.
on the all time great list. And I have high praise for Chris Spielman. You know what I mean? I really do.
Yeah. So
But Vrabel was a
my
beast.
top five, I would go with, of course, Mike Vrabel, Chase Young, Joey Bosa, um,
This is
like
in
that,
order.
like that. Not in no order. I'm gonna say no order right now. Uh, bro, one year Vernon Ghostin, man, in '07 had 14 sacks that was one single year, man. But of course, like in the NFL, like he got a lot of money went that year when he went to the draft, and it didn't pan out all the way in the NFL though, man. Like
Didn't he win
Yeah.
Super Bowls?
I don't remember.
I thought
I don't
he was on
remember.
the
Yo,
Patriots winning Super Bowls.
I got another honorable mention too. I want to hear y'all opinion after Cam's
Go
done.
ahead.
Um,
Oh, when Cam said.
I want to add. So I said. So I said Mike Vrabel, Chase Young, Joey Bosa. Um, I would say you want to add the other Bosa in there. Yes, Nick Bosa. And then that fifth spot is kind of just up in the air for me. Like I'm in between JTT and Jack Sawyer for that fifth spot. If I would go to
The the
pick,
clinch the
it's going to
clinch
be
in
Jack because of.
the
But
Texas moment.
yeah, the
It's on there. It's
Texas
written.
moment. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a legend for that Texas moment.
Texas
I'm sorry. Like
moment
you know what I'm saying? Like
says it.
they got the same state. What he got? JTT got 23 and a half sacks. Jack Sawyer had 23, so they only a half sack off. I got Jack.
Man,
So
that that
my
that that sack fumble return to send us to the natty and clinch it. That was at least 3 sacks. Fuck it if they don't want to write it down. That was worth at least three.
facts, facts, man. So
Yo,
that's
so
my
let me
top
ask y'all a
five.
question real quick. Out of these three defensive ends I'm about to name, who was better? JTT, Jack Sawyer, or Will Smith?
R.I.P. the guy, but I'm gonna have to say that I think that JTT and Jack Sawyer are both better.
Then Will Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Because
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith, he's the Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, first team All
I mean, you
American,
can't hate that.
and he's a
Oh
national
three.
champion.
So are
Yeah,
they. I
oh
mean, you
three.
can't
Yeah,
really
because
add that to the
that year
argument.
in '03,
I
he
know.
had
I'm
No,
just
I
saying,
29
like,
dig.
sacks
as
that
far
year.
as because like if he wasn't national champion, I wouldn't present
No,
my
no, no. I don't
opinion. I'm
disagree. So,
comparing.
I would say, when Will Smith won Defensive Line Player of the Year, he's not going against with like Mason Grahams and Kenneth Grants and old boy from fucking Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? With other elite, he didn't have another JTT on the other side. He was just Jack Sawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like the Big Ten isn't what it is right this second, is what I would say to that. I'm not disrespecting him. Again, RIP the guy. Will Smith is a GOAT. You definitely helped us win a natty. Um, I just don't myself. I don't. I would still pick Jack Sawyer over both of them myself.
I gotta look up who we played in 2002 for the Natty. That was still when we had the
And
BCS
who we played for the natty? We played Miami.
in
Yeah.
2002. Oh, so I was trying to see because I was trying to look up who he went up against as far as offensive lineman Hall of Famers from back then.
No,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
we should.
saying?
Hey,
That's why I was
we don't
looking
have
at.
time to Google that right now, but we should talk about that later. That's actually a good conversation. I like that.